In the 34 years that I have been a priest, in many homilies I've spoken about my upbringing in the neighborhood of Brooklyn in which I grew up, because it was quite a special place. Imagine a community where just about everyone knew your name, where we could play stickball in the street and not be worried, where we would be able to go to dinner in 25 different homes and be welcomed as a son. A place where even when I was very young, we did not even lock our doors at night, for there was no fear of someone entering in. But the truth be told, as I've become older, I realize that that almost idyllic picture is not the complete picture. That same neighborhood had a shadow side, a darker side, that I become to realize very personally. Because in that same neighborhood, it was also true that many a person would tell you one thing and tell you something else. Sometimes smile at your face and stab you in the back. A place where, in fact, you thought there was loyalty, but when it came to the moment of decision, you were left alone. There is a phrase in Italian that my mother often used to describe those sort of people. She would say, "Caro mio, hanno due facce," which in English we would simply say they are two-faced. One that is apparent, the other that is hidden. I don't think my neighborhood growing up was the only place where that happens. In fact, I raise it with you, my friends, today at the beginning of Lent, because I have not come here to ask you to pick up a stone and throw it at someone else. Rather, I have come here as we begin these 40 days of penance and ask you, do you have the courage to look into the mirror, as I will, and admit the fact that there are times in your life and mine where we too have been two-faced? Where you and I have said one thing to someone and contradicted ourselves with someone else because, after all, we want to be liked by everyone and betray the truth. How many times have you and I been tempted, or worse, sinned and smiled at someone, and when the occasion arose, stabbed him or her in the back? How many times have you and I been tempted, or worse, created the sin where we have not been there when we promised we would be, to friend or neighbor alike? You see, my friends, those are the moments when you and I have been guilty of being two-faced. And in this season of Lent, the Lord asks us to journey, not to judge others, but to look inside. For Lent, my brothers, is a journey into the heart. For any time you and I have been guilty of being double-faced, two-faced, is the time when we recognize our hearts are broken, our hearts are divided, and the Christian woman or man is called in grace to have a healed, single heart, devoted to not something, but someone. And what we will do today at Mass is the recipe that you and I need to follow for the next 40 days of Lent, so that you and I may come out the other end more healed in heart and less two-faced when the occasion or temptation arises. It is 2 steps. First, in about 5 minutes, I will bless ashes, and I will invite you to come forward. And those who will come to me and many others, you will hear me say, remember, you are dust, and unto dust you shall return. Remember, brothers, where those ashes come from. They are the palms of last year burned to a crisp. Palms that represent the promises of this world: power, majesty, glory, honor, money, possessions, and wealth. They were laid at Jesus' feet, and 5 days later, the same world that promised all that crucified him. So we burn them as a sign of what? That the day will come, and you are young, and you are alive. And please God, this will not happen for many years. But now that I am 61 years old, it crosses my mind more often than I care to admit. But there will come a time when you and I will enter into the mystery of death, when we too will become ashes, and we will give back our life to God. And our purpose here in this life is to have that life healed and single-hearted in him. So today, my friends, is the wake-up call. We have it once a year. And then there's the second part, where you may hear, repent and believe in the gospel. And what does that mean? It means to have the courage to admit the truth to you and to me in our own quiet. To admit how our hearts are broken and divided. How our hearts not always stand with Jesus. And by prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, in the disciplines of Lent, that is the medicine to heal the heart. Prayer, to spend time with our captain, our king, our leader, the one in whom we will follow in battle, wherever that may be, whatever the cost may be. To come to know him, to love him, and to follow him. In fasting, to give up of our comfort so that those who have been hurt by all those in this world who are two-faced, to help to lift them up and heal them, as we do with almsgiving, so that we might stand with them, and by doing that, stand with Christ. Lent is an invitation, brothers, to step it up, to admit the truth, and to become noble and single in heart. And I have come here to encourage you to take advantage of this great season, because no one can force you to do it. But if you do, I promise you, the ashes you will receive today will one day be replaced with a crown that is beyond price. And that crown, brothers, is the crown of everlasting life. So allow me to end with a question. Who here in this sacred place, as we begin the season of Lent, who here will have the courage to look yourself in the mirror, admit that you and I at times have been two-faced, divided in heart, and who will have the courage to walk this journey to healing, to greatness, and to life?